Hey friends, what's good? How you guys doing? It's been a minute. I am here today shooting with the best of my ability with this camera and this lighting. The dogs are in my seat, so I'm sitting really close to everything. And I just had to mess with my microphone for half an hour. It was not working right, so I kind of pray that it does not cut in and out. How is everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is Shannon Braybrook, if you haven't been here before, and I tell stories that are usually irrelevant, not very funny, sometimes nostalgic. We just talk about life. I just talk about life. And today is no different. So, this is like a one take deal. I don't edit these videos, I don't add little, fancy stuff or anything. My thumbnails are terrible. I always do them to make sure that I look silly because life is so fun. Like, I don't know if you guys are experiencing fun life, but yeah, it's fun. So let's have fun. So, anyway, welcome. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about adventure and what does adventure mean to you? Because adventure means something different to everybody. I've been talking to people in the past month, and I've been getting so many cool stories about what adventure is to some people. Um, it doesn't always have to be a crazy, scary thing. It could be something as simple as going for dinner with a group of people you've never gone out with and having different conversations. That's your adventure. You go out once a month and you meet with people. You go to a movie. There are so many people on the planet right now that it's so varied. We can't say that one adventure is more exciting than another because, I spent a lot of time with seniors, and the one thing that I noticed is that when you get together with a senior in the community and maybe they don't get out very often and maybe their adventure for the week is to go to the library and head over to the grocery store, come back, have a cup of tea with somebody new or with, a person that they love or care about. So adventure to me, I've been kind of an adventure girl for a long time. I've done some crazy things. So I just wanted to talk today a little bit about what I've done. And I don't know if any of you guys can relate. I'm going to try and keep my hair under my hair is never straight like this, so I apologize if I look disheveled at all. But anyway, it's Au Naturel Day. And yeah, the lighting. I've got this light on. I don't know if it'll help, but whatever. Let's just go with this. So, I want to talk about adventures because I have been on some adventures. Like, I have been around the world. I've gone and done many, many things. So I just want to start from the very beginning of one of the first adventures that I ever went on, which at the time, it wasn't really an adventure, but it was with my dad, and we were going to go grouse hunting. And I was only about 11 and I had my own gun. My dad had guns, and we were taught, we were raised with guns, like how to operate and shoot and stuff, and how to, do that kind of thing. And so the first adventure that I remember was getting in a little tiny truck and driving out into the bush and getting my first grouse. When I got it, it meant to me that I got to eat that because we loved grouse back in the day. It was better than chicken. So I was able to experience like a nice fun day of hunting. I think we also got wood at the time. And so we, it- when we were growing up, we lived a really adventurous life because we got to live in the woods. We got to do some fun stuff. I remember one year the grader, my dad had the grader drive all the snow, like plow all the snow up into our yard and create like a 25-foot mountain of snow, which became a tunnel adventure, like slides. My brother and I lived in that big pile of snow until the spring. It was amazing. Like, these are the things that I mean when I say adventure, but I mean, we'll get a little bit further into adventure along in the video, but the the stuff that I really appreciate become adventures because sometimes we're stuck in a rut and we haven't done anything for a long time, and then somebody says, "Oh, hey, do you want to do this?" Like, "Oh, do you want to go on a raft? Do you want to do something different, like go canoeing, or hey, let's paddleboard, that kind of stuff, that becomes an adventure. So that's what I mean when I say adventure. I'm not saying that you have to jump out of airplanes and do, really crazy stuff, but I've had some of the best experiences of my life by not thinking about them and just doing them. And so I want to go back to when, for traveling, when I was in New Zealand. I my my ex-husband was going to he was choosing to do the river rafting thing, or like in a river boat in New Zealand, and I was like, no way, that's too scary for me, I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to jump into the Bay of Islands and swim with the dolphins in the middle of the ocean, and there might be sharks in the water. That's what I mean by, like, we all have a different level of what is adventure to us. Like, what is going to make you, what's going to get you so excited. So that was one of the things that I did when I was younger. But the timeline of how I tell these stories is going to be way off. It's going to be way off. But I remember the first time I ever went in an airplane, I was so terrified because my dad, I even think my mom, nobody in my house and my family had ever flown in an airplane. I don't think my dad ever flew in an airplane. Even when he died, I don't think he'd ever been in an airplane, not once. And that was fear, like fear of flying. And I thought, man, am I going to be like that? But as soon as I got to a certain age, I think my very first trip was to Vegas with my family, with the women in the family. So all of us ladies went out to Vegas, and we had a pretty good time. That was an adventure in itself. And yeah, so flying was a big deal. To be able to fly for the first time, that was fantastic, and it was worth it. It was so worth it. And so um, I also, when I married Dave, it was more, everything we did was an adventure, because in Dave's eyes, life had to be lived, because you don't live forever. There's this infinite amount of time that your body's going to be here, and we have to do things that are fun and adventurous and crazy. And I'm not kidding you, we did some crazy stuff. I remember one day he said to me, I'm going to take you up the mountain on the quad, and we found this place that it was not a trail. It was an actual creek bed that had dried up. And so we're going up this creek bed. We're like 1,000 feet in the mountains, going up this creek bed. I swear that it was this. It was like the incline was insane. I was almost in tears. I was just so scared. And I'm on the back of the quad, holding on for dear life, while Crazy Man was just like ripping it up the mountain. And the funny thing is when we got to the bottom, it was so funny because he always said, "Look what you just did. You just did adventure. Like, you just did something that's scary." And that was sort of how I lived my life with Dave for at least, 18 years. We did things that were kind of scary and really extreme at times. Um, when I got my Harley, I was not nervous. I was very excited because women riding Harleys, it's kind of it's different. Like, you don't see it all the time. I know now you do, but like 18 years ago, 17 years ago, you didn't really see a lot of women ripping around on their own bike. They were always on the back. And I'd been always on the back of the bike for years. And finally Dave said, "You got to get your own bike." And I was like, "No, I don't want to do that." Best thing I ever did was to get on my own Harley, and so I had an 1100, or was it a 1200? I had a Sportster, and it was a vintage. It was an '04. '04. It was old enough to be considered a classic, I think, one of the two. But this bike, it was just so powerful, and it was so fun because it gave me a chance to live out another dream of getting on my own bike and just ripping as fast as I want, which maybe I wasn't going that fast. If anybody's watching, that's like law enforcement. No, anyway, I don't ride anymore. I haven't ridden for a long time. But Sadie would ride on the back with me, so that was like another huge adventure. Every single time I put the dog in the back of that bike and I got on the bike and I rode to somewhere, it was so incredibly gratifying to know that I did that. That was another thing I just did. Um, I don't know if you guys have anything to add in the comments about what you've done that's either terrified you And then when you're done doing it, you realize, man, am I ever glad I did that? Like, there's a few things. I draw the line at a few things. I will not go on a roller coaster. I will not go on anything that's going to make me throw up because I feel bad if I throw up on other people. There's no way. I don't want to do that. That's awful. So I've never been. I was on a rickety little roller coaster when I was younger, and then my uncle took us on the Ferris wheel and we got stuck at the top. So I've just had PTSD about being on big rides like that. So I just won't do that. I won't go there. But when I was in Cambodia, was it Cambodia? I think it was Cambodia. We were at Angkor Wat or Angkor Thom, and we got to ride an elephant. And I didn't really want to ride an elephant. I was kind of scared because I thought, first of all, this is kind is it humane to be riding an elephant? Like I had that kind of thought in my mind, like I don't really want to ride on this poor elephant. But anyways, needless to say, we all got on elephants and we did our ride, and it was really beautiful and it was amazing. But here's where like the difference in adventure comes in. Dave said to me, he said he was climbing up one of the structures at Anchor Water Tom so you could go to the top where the tower is, and it was like, I don't know, 50 steps. And I looked right at him. I go, no, no, not me. I'm like terrified of heights. So I drew the line at I'm walking up a step to go on a temple that I'll never be able to do this again. Well, maybe not for a lot of years. Dave's just like, oh, I'm going up. So he went up and his mom went up, and I think his brother did too. I don't know. I think everybody did but me. I was not going up there because I'm so scared of heights. So there's times where you just draw the line. But I love adventure, and now for me, adventure looks way different. Like it means just because I've been alone for 2 years, I get to experience a lot of things alone that I've never experienced in my life. But now I find adventure to me is, I know it's going to sound like such a nerdy thing, going to the newest library and sitting down and reading a book. Because I guess in all of the years that I've been married or doing things, I never had a lot of time to just have peaceful time where you're just sitting around. You know, I probably ran on the highest cortisol I could ever run on for the past 40 years because I was either nursing, working, raising kids, or running businesses. And since Dave passed, had nothing but time and time to think and to sit and have a lot of peace. And so now, yeah, a lot of the adventures I go on are really simple. I walk into the back bush with the dogs and we go and we see the turkey vultures that are living in a tree. That's adventure, you know. Going yesterday, I was talking to the neighbor, and he tapped my shoulder. He said, "Look." I turn around, and there's an eagle, huge. We have like 30 of them here, but it was a massive eagle, and he'd grabbed something off the beach, got up and flew off, and had was carrying something in his talons. Kind of adventure to me. So adventure looks so different to everybody, and I would love to hear how you guys experience adventure in your life. Do you whitewater raft? Do you jump out of airplanes? Do you just find thrills in doing really simple things? Um, I'd love to hear from you. But that's kind of my story today because I wanted to lean into a little bit different way of telling stories now because I am working on my second book, and I've been working on my second book since 2021. When I did the first book, it was very basic, very simple. It just got me into the element of how to write a book and what I would do for the next book. But the next one is more, I want to do the stories that are in my head because I've had a lot. I've had so many stories in my head. I don't know why. I think somebody in my past has been a storyteller. Maybe there was an ancestor way in the back that used to tell stories. I don't know. My dad was a pretty funny storyteller, always really comedic when he talked. And yeah, maybe I missed that. I just want to keep it alive. But we're coming up to almost 15 minutes. This is a long video for me. So anyway, I hope you guys have had a wonderful time experiencing some, crazy, jaw-dropping, unique adventures with me. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I want to I just want to say thank you for joining in and hit the bell and all that stuff and subscribe. I stopped doing some stories for the summer, and I just feel like maybe it's time to get back into it because, yeah, things have slowed down. I'm working my three jobs, but I'm kind of, pacing it so I have time to do stories. And now I don't have the use of the iPhone, so I have to do everything here on this other potato camera, but it is what it is. It's a laptop. It's working for me just fine. Anyway, you guys have a fantastic day and God bless you. And yeah, join me next time for another crazy adventure story. See you later.